Alright, hi there folks. Me again, Brandon Wenzel, your guide in all things martial arts cinema related. Why? Because of course, I know Kung Fu. And you might have noticed, ha ha ha, check it out, arm is totally back. Oh my god, how did I do it? Kung Fu skill, folks. Pure, unadulterated Kung Fu skill. So, I'm over here, I've got both arms again. Whoosha! And so I'm looking to do a little reviewing. So what am I going to review? Well, I've got this whole thing planned out, and it's this whole thing, and this review, and this... Oh no! Ah! Son of a bitch! Come on! Damn it! Really? In two reviews, I've been unarmed twice. What the hell, folks? What's that? Look at this. See? What the hell? God damn it. This could only happen to me. Here I am, just trying to go over here, do some reviewing for you fine folks, and damn it if I don't lose an arm again. Well... Alright, well I guess I'm gonna have to undergo my training again, but I already used the One Armed Swordsman as my training companion, as my training manual, so what am I gonna do now? If only... Let me go on a little journey with me here, folks. Hi. There we go. If only there were another film that I could use now that I'm over here and I've lost my arm yet again. How am I going to go over there and do another review? Well, if only there were a film that could help me out again. Is there such a film, folks? Well, you better damn well believe there is, because remember, there was One Armed Swordsman, and boom! Well, he turns out that he returned. In the film, The Return of the One Armed Swordsman. Appropriate. And, since I find myself currently less than two-armed, I figure this would be a great time to go ahead and do a review for this film. So, we're gonna go ahead and buck up, do another, one-armed review, and, so we're gonna get this shit rolling. Boom! Alright, let's do this, folks. Alright, so, little film right here, One Armed Swordsman. Try to keep it out of my lovely face, my awesome, my awesome personage. This awesome film right here, starring, once again, our good pal, Mr. Jimmy Wang Yu, the one-armed master himself. And directed again by the master Chang Che, and of course brought to you by boom, Shaw Brothers and Dragon Dynasty. This particular release, Dragon Dynasty. So how cool is that? That's pretty cool. I will say, I want to, as just like a thing, I'm always not sure where exactly to go with some of these reviews. One other thing I did want to is kind of like a product review. With this film versus the previous film, the first One Armed Swordsman film, unfortunately, this one has zero special features. It has been digitally remastered and all that nice stuff, and it has the original soundtrack and all that good things. But yeah, I just wanted to bring up, in case, like I said, if any of you people actually watch my videos, if you actually want to watch this particular film, just bear in mind, if you watch the first one first, the first one has quite a few special features and commentary and stuff. This one doesn't, but it's still a badass movie. So, alright, so, okay. Alright, well, let's get into some of the meat of the film here. Came out in 1969, so a couple years after the first one. Actually, a little bit surprising, considering that generally Hong Kong films, if they were a success, particularly when you're talking about a huge success, like, The One Armed Swordsman was. There we go. Usually they came out pretty almost right immediately after, but for whatever reason, this one took a couple years. But maybe that was just for the quality factor. I like to think so. So okay, let's, I'm not even going to go into the whole thing. You already know Chang Che and all the Shaw and all that, and Jimmy Wang Yu. So let's just go ahead, let's get the fuck right into it, right? Alright, so what does that mean? One-armed synapsis. Alright, so we've got Jimmy Wang Yu again, of course, our one-armed pal, reprising his role as Feng Gong. This time, well, he's trying his best just to be left the fuck alone. Kind of like he was in the last one, to be entirely honest with you, but now this time he's just kind of hanging out, and he's a farmer, and he's just living with his wife, played again, reprising her role, the lovely Lisa Chow Chow. And there's some other familiar faces in there too, that I'll go into as I go along. But no, he's just doing his thing. He's living all, nice out in the country and everything. Just hanging out. He's being the one-armed farmer. How cool. Oh my god. That makes me wish that they'd done like a crossover. I need to somehow make this happen. Even if it's just like a small video or something. They should have done an awesome crossover between like Little House on the Prairie and the One Armed Swordsman. Just because that's kind of how the film starts out, with him just over there with his just plowing the land. And so he's just doing his thing. He's just trying to be left the fuck alone. And unfortunately, when you're an awesome swordsman, particularly of the one-armed variety, apparently that's just not a fucking option for you, because you're going to get an albino and a dude dressed in black called the White and Black Swordsman. They're going to show up, and they're going to be like, hey, dude, we're going to go ahead and issue this challenge to you, because we're pretty sure you're the one-armed swordsman, because apparently not too many one-armed guys just around. I would honestly like to know. It's obviously a statistic I'm never going to be able to get, but I would be legitimately interested to see what the ratio of one-armed guys was back in, feudal China. I bet it's higher than what they present. And actually, in one of Jimmy Wang Yu's later films, that is kind of addressed a little bit. And if you're a fan of his films, or maybe just, martial arts films, then you might know the thing I'm talking about. I'll probably bring it up in my special features for this particular film, so check that out when I'm done. But no, so you've got these two swordsmen. They've got a whole ebony and ivory thing going on. The albino-looking guy, by the way, played by our good pal Wu Ma, the late, great Wu Ma, who I cannot say enough good things about. Sadly passed away not too long ago. But he actually plays the white albino swordsman in this particular film. He was also the assistant director on it, so that's pretty cool. And so, they issue this challenge saying, look, we're representatives of these 8 sword masters, right? And they want to dominate the swords world, and so they're sending out all these petitions to all these great sword fighters because, they basically want everybody to kind of kowtow, or... Is that right? Yeah, kowtow. I think so. Sounds right. Uh-oh. No time to stop the video now, folks. I think that's right. That sounds right. But they basically just want everybody... See, this is what I get for trying to be fancy. One-armed drink. No funky drinks today, folks. I've actually given up soda for a while. Gotta kill some of this gut. But no, they want everybody to kind of kiss their ass and acknowledge the fact that they're the greatest swordsmen, in the land. And when you've got guys, they're the 8 sword kings, and I mean, when you've got guys named Poisonous Dragon, Spinning Wheels King, Thousand Hands King, you're in for a good time with this film. But, of course, Feng Gong's given up his life as a swordsman. He's like, look... I don't know what your whole thing is, or this whole yin and yang thing that you're doing here with the two of you, but I got zero interest in this whole thing, so leave me the fuck alone. And, unfortunately, they don't take no for an answer, and they're like, well, we're gonna be back, and he's like, I'm gonna murder you if you do. So, before that can happen, turns out that, there's some other folks over there, representatives of another school, that's also been challenged to this whole thing, because it turns out they've sent out petitions to pretty much all the sword schools, and their master's over there, and he's like, look, it'd be pretty awesome if you could maybe, like, you know, actually show up. That'd be pretty cool, because I'm fairly certain that this isn't about kissing ass, and it's more about just murdering a bunch of people. And if I'm right, we're probably going to need your help. And Fang Gong's over there, Jimmy Wang Yu, he's like, look, dude, I get it. I hope you're wrong, but I'm just a guy. I'm just a one-armed farmer. And really, at this point in the day, if you've got all these sword schools showing up and you have to rely on a one-armed guy, well, you know, doesn't look too great for those particular characters. So he's over there, and he's just trying to do his thing. You know, he's just, I'm Fang Gong, I'm just trying to do my thing. But it turns out that, you know, at the very least, the the multiracial duo that are the black and white sword coming together to murder the One Armed Swordsman. That's it. Oh, that's such an awesome. Oh, man. But now I'm thinking about that terrible movie that Ashton Kutcher and Bernie Mac did together, and now I feel a little bit worse. Anyway, so that'll stop you laughing. So anyway, they show up because it turns out that at the very least they're men of their word, and you know that they'll come back and try to murder you. And so they show up around midnight, and they're all hiya, and he's all like, no. He so thoroughly shows these two up. I mean, I've said it before, but I honestly don't know if it has been more appropriate than it is in the scene with Fang Gong and these two. That he flat out makes these two look like silly bitches. He really does. But they are, however, living silly bitches, so they get to go on their way. But yeah, in the meantime, the old master and his two sons, one of whom is played by the awesome Cheng Lui, who I brought up in my special features, who was another one of those guys who was in the previous film. He was the I refer to him as the staff fighter, I guess, in the previous film. But he plays one of the master's sons in this, and just an all around good guy. And it turns out that unfortunately the master is pretty much dead on. Turns out that the 8 Sword Kings, well, they're all pricks. They're just murdering people for the sake of murdering people. Just, you know, I mean, they always come up, particularly in the wuxia films, they always talk about, you know, this, the idea of, you know, the martial world, and, you know, you have to be, people always trying to take over the martial world, but it really just comes down to their dick bags. They're just being assholes because they can, because nobody can stop them from doing what they're doing. And, true to form, I mean, you know, and really the cool thing is, I'm not going to go into all the specifics, unfortunately, because I'm not going to have time. But really, kudos on the 8 Swords Kings in this. They're led, I will go into who their leader is, by the Stealth King, played by our good friend, Tian Fang, who in the previous film played the main character's master. I don't know what happened in between that film to this one, where, you know, he apparently decided that evil was cooler. That would have been a really cool transition, by the way. Like, I wish there would have been that kind of continuity. That would have been pretty interesting. But, unfortunately, Tian Fang, he's just playing the villain. You know, he's just not this. I don't want people. If you watch Shaw Brothers films, you have to get used to the same actors. They'll be in the movie. Sometimes they'll play multiple roles in some of these movies, like background roles and stuff. And so Tian Fang is not, in fact, playing the same character. I just wanted to accentuate that point. But yes, he plays the Stealth King, who no one has ever seen his weapon until he decides to kill them, because he's badass like that. And, aside from that, some of the other notable ones, Lau Kar Lung, he is the Fast Sword King, uses these sort of like sickle weapons, pretty badass. The Master Lau Kar Lung, who unfortunately I did not bring him, and Tongai. Tongai is in this film as well. In the previous film they played, two of One Armed Devil's henchmen. In this they play, two of the 8 Swordsman Kings. Tongai playing the Spinning Wheels King, who is pretty badass too. I'm trying to think. There's, like I said, there's 8 of them. I just don't have time to go into all of them, unfortunately. But I wanted to bring those 2 up, and I will bring them up in my special features this time around. So in any case, this whole thing's going on, and they're killing these people off and everything, and they kind of allow some of them to escape. And, really, for the means of seeing the devious means with which these, these folks dispose of their adversaries. And they really do get pretty inventive with it, in this film, which is one of the things that I love about, some of the Shaw Brothers films, is just how much fun they could have with some of this stuff. But that's not part of the synopsis. That's more of an ending thing. But in any case, I just felt like bringing that up right then and there. So, in any case, few of these students managed to get away. But unfortunately, their masters are pretty much all trapped by, the Stealth King and his horde of douchebags. They've trapped the masters and sent him out a petition saying, look, here's how this is going to go. We'll give your masters back if you go over there and chop off your right arm and come bring it to us. Otherwise, well, fuck it, we're just going to keep them. And they're old and, have needs that need attending to and stuff, and we're not going to be very good hosts for very long, so, I mean, they're all master swordsmen in their own right, but at the same time, most of them are fairly aged folks, and, if you, maybe have a parent or grandparent or something, at the very least, they're gonna have to take pretty frequent bathroom breaks. Which I know if I were the guy in charge of the selling stuff, that would just piss me off to no end. Because there's like 40 of them. It would just be one of those things. Alright, now we're gonna do the bathroom break right now. Who needs to go? Well, I'm not making multiple trips. But that's what it goes on. In any case. So yeah, this is their dilemma. And the only one who can help them, of course, is the One Armed Swordsman, Mr. Fang Gong. And by the way, it is actually out of the thing. I tried specifically to kind of show this a little bit better, because the last one you couldn't see it, and I'm just... But yeah, so, they go to him, and they're like, look, we really need your help. Oh, by the way, white and black ambush time! Apparently... How did these guys... Oh, man. Woo-ma, what are you doing, buddy? I don't know how the hell these guys thought things were going to go better for them during the daytime than they were at night, but sure enough, and then they end up getting killed by each other's weapons, so... Way to go, guys. Anyway, so... They decide, alright, well, we gotta ask Fang Gong for his help, because he's the only one who can help us, and we should probably do that away from his house, because his wife might be, a little apprehensive about this whole thing. And, oh, by the way, I'm going to go ahead and spoil it for you, but his wife was pregnant. She keeps trying to tell him, and it's fairly obvious to everyone but him, because he is the stoic swordsman. And stoic swordsmen, despite being great at, combat and ass-kicking and arm-cutting off and all that good stuff, excuse me, are usually the densest fucking people in the movie. And Fang Gong, at least in this regard, certainly fits that role. But, unfortunately, it turns out that, there's at least, one guy amongst all the disciples who basically is like, look, I'm not willing to gamble on this. I need to go over there. I need results now. So we could go over there and ask him for his help, or we could go over there and capture his wife. Good plan! Sure enough, One Armed Swordsman returns, all intent on helping them and everything, but turns out that his wife has in fact been stolen by this one disciple. And in the meantime, they've got her, and some of the other disciples are over there, and they're like, "You're a prick!" You know, you practically hear one of them in the background say, "You should play villain roles, dude!" I'll go into that in my special features thing, but yes, the guy who plays the douchebag student who kidnaps the One Armed Swordsman wife does in fact go on to be something of a notable villain actor later on in his career. Not surprising, given this particular role. But yeah, so I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit here. So in any case, they try to do this whole thing, but of course the 8 kings, the 8 swords kings, they gotta show up, right? Because they're a big part of the movie. So Lau Kar-Long shows up with his fast sword guys, and they're all over there murdering students and disciples and stuff. And Fang Gong shows up, and he's like, "I'm gonna beat your ass with a fucking twig." And he does, I'm not even kidding. That's how fucking cool that is the epitome of coolness, when you can go over there and take on a guy who, you know, a score of guys who refer to themselves as, you know, the swordsman king, and you're just like, I could go with my, you know, my signature broken sword. I could do that. Or I could pick up a random useless object and fucking manage to wipe you all out. I love it. It's great, too, because the way he wipes them out, it's not even an issue of, like, you know, jams it in their eye or, you know, slits their throat with a, you know, no. It's just he goes over there and manages to distract these guys long enough with, you know, 1 or 2 strikes that the various disciples of these, of the swords masters are able to go over there and cut them down. It's pretty damn badass. But in any case, he shows up, he gets murdered, Fang Gong's like, "You guys suck." His wife's like, "Look, I know this kind of goes against everything that was established about my character, but for the sake of an awesome movie, I think you should go over there and help these guys out, because, you know, come on now, this isn't going well. They'll be dead in a day or 2, at best, if you don't help them." So, Fang Gong agrees, and he's like, "Alright," and by the way, in the meantime, our good friend, Cheng Lue, the staff man, he dies, defending Miss Lisa Chow Chow. So in the meantime, he goes over there, and, you know, really from there, the cool thing about it is he takes the role of the leader of the group, specifically trying not to let anybody know that that he is in fact the one-armed swordsman. Kind of keeps a coat over his body, and really from there, it's just them kind of moving from segment to segment, different king to different king. And, you know, the one-armed swordsman, Fang Gong, coming up with these, you know, really kind of rather clever ways to beat these guys. And not only, you know, because he himself could really just show up and fucking plow through them, but he's like, no. You know, I've got a small army of guys on my side this time. I don't really need to be the only one fighting here, and really they're the ones who need this more than I do. I should really act more as an administrator and teach them how to be badasses themselves, which is a cool way to go about that. It was honestly the only film I can think of that takes that approach. Most films really just would have had him mowing through people, but not this one. So that's pretty cool, I think. But in any case, because this is going a little bit long, but that's alright. So like I said, it really is just kind of them going from one thing to one thing. Particularly, the only real notable thing is the Thousand Hands King, who is this very, very beautiful woman who her kind of specialty is her very devious nature and being able to get close to her adversaries and then having a wealth of weapons on her at any given point in time. She is played by... cheat sheet over here because I do not know her name off the top of my head. Essie, yeah, apparently it's Essie. Essie Lin Chia. I've never heard of the name Essie before, but and I may very well be pronouncing it poorly or whatever. But that's alright. But she plays the Thousand Hands King, the lovely but fatal Thousand Hands King. And so I bring her up just because, you know, she does probably the most damage out of most of them, and then she's able to kind of screw a few of them over and everything like that. And she's really one of the only ones who's really given us an actual character of sorts. Most of the kings are fairly just, you know, they show up, they get killed. Alright, so they managed to make their way there, and like I said, they, one by one, they systematically wipe these guys out until, you know, they get to the base, and they get to the base, but how are they going to get in? What are they going to do? Well, it turns out Fang Gong's got a plan. Because he's always got a plan, because he's the one-armed swordsman. And when you're a one-armed dude, you better have a plan. So he goes over there, and one of the disciples, I forgot to mention, he had actually severed his own arm, and unfortunately is dead. Was killed by a Thousand Hands King. That bitch. But he had that arm saved. He goes over there to the Muscle King, played by Ku Feng, another awesome villain actor who played the main character's father in the previous film. So there you go. There's another cool tie-in character there. So, So, okay. Trying to keep on point here. A little hard sometimes. So, I gotta stop saying, So, and I gotta stop doing that thing too. I watch these videos and I'm just like, I am some kind of fucking ape. I swear to God. I did not fucking fully evolve. God damn it. Anyway. But that said, so they proceed to move along, and he's got this whole plan where he's going to show up with the arm of the guy and basically say, look, I'm one of the disciples. I'm certainly not the one-armed swordsman, and this isn't certainly a convenient plot device. But yeah, I totally would like to get my master, and if you could let me into your lair and all that stuff, that'd be cool. So he does, and by this point in time, you've really only got the Muscle King, the Stealth King, and the Flying Wheels King, played by, again, the awesome Tong guy. And so he gets in there, and got all of his disciples outside. They start causing a ruckus. They go over there, they net poor Ku Feng, the Muscle King, and, you know, they proceed to do him in, and they start sieging the base, and this whole thing, and then Fang Gong's on the inside. He gets the masters free, starts fighting from the inside. Tong Guy's all over there with his spinning wheel cohorts all... I can't make the noise very well. And they're all, we're gonna throw our spinning wheels at you, and Fang Gong's like, that's the worst thing you can do. I'm just gonna deflect them back at you. Really was a bad move on Tong Guy's part after watching all of his men who use identical weapons to him throw their weapons, all of them, each one has two of these things. I'll actually show you right there. Damn it. Stupid one arm. Who invented being one-armed? I ought to beat that guy's ass. These folks right here, the spinning wheels, each have two of them. They all throw them at Fang Gong. There's like probably like 6 or 7 guys. He manages to catch them all and throw them right back at him. So what does Tong Guy do? Despite only being one guy and only having 2 of these left, well, he's going to try this. Yeah, leave it, you know, goes without saying. Things didn't go well for him. Damn it, I just did the thing again. But they go over there, they manage to get the masters free. Masters are happy, some of them are sad, because some of their sons or disciples are dead. And, you know, they go over there, and, you know, they're kind of celebrating after the end of this whole thing. And Fang Gong's over there, and he's like, alright, well, here's a problem. We didn't catch the Stealth King. No one knows where he is, or his personal guards. We might want to keep an eye open for that. So people, let's keep the drinking to a minimum. Let's let the masters do their thing. They're all happy to be free. Free to take as many bathroom breaks as they might require in their old age. Oh, man. Straight to hell. Straight to hell. Anyway, wasn't there something about respecting your elders in the Bible? Anyway, So yeah, they've got him free. Good times for all. You know, we're all happy. And, you know, just after he makes this pronouncement of, hey, let's keep the booze to a minimum here, folks. Of course, his wife is like, guess what? Baby! And he's all like, yay! Drinks on me! Why would you do that? I don't... But this, of course, leaves it open for the Stealth King and his folks to show up and start kicking some ass, and Tian Fang over there being all, I'm Tian Fang, I'm gonna beat some ass. He really doesn't, because he's the Stealth King. He's actually, he was an awesome old master in the previous one. He's an awesome villain in this one. But, you know, they go over there, they start burning stuff and killing people and everything, and they fight back. Fang Gong's over there, he wipes out, you know, most of their guards, ends up on this rather epic fight with a bridge. By the way, one of the cool things is, and I wish it had been a little bit more explicit with this, the fight starts when it's clearly dark out. It's well nighttime at this point. And when you eventually see the fight regain itself between Fang Gong and Tian Fang, the Stealth King, the One Armed Swordsman and the Stealth King, it's daylight. So apparently they were fighting for hours. I mean, I suppose you could argue the fact that maybe it was like, you know, dawn or something like that, but still, that's, for it to go from essentially pitch black to pure on daylight, that's like at least 2 hours, right? It's gotta be, if not more so. So that's rather cool. Like I said, I wish they would have gone into that a little bit more. But yeah, so they're going over there and they're fighting, and Stealth King's all over there like, well, I don't usually show my weapon to people who I'm not about to kill, but just because it's you. He goes over there and draws his blade. But his blade looks a little bit odd, because it's kind of a half blade. In fact, it looks rather similar to the main character's broken blade. What does this mean? Nothing, it's just, you know, cool sword and, you know, way to do that whole thing. Or does it? No, because it turns out that Stealth King, being a devious bastard, there's actually a blade inside of the blade that can extend out, and it even has a hook thing if you break that blade off, so he's all tricky and shit, like any good villain is. Tian Fang, you tricky bastard. So, they fight, Tian Fang wins, he's all over there, you know, with his wife all over there, like, fuck being the Swords King, look at all this death and destruction, fuck all this nonsense, I'm done with this. Goes over there, throws down this amulet that they had made for him, declaring him the Swords King. He tosses it down and walks away with his wife. His wife is never to be seen again, despite the fact that this character shows up in several other films later on. Which, by the way, like, seriously, I would love it, being an avid fan of not only martial arts films, but also comic books, and particularly classic martial arts films. I would love to see somebody do, like, like Dynamite or IDW or something. Would love to see them do, like, a comic book adaptation of some of these. Because I would love to have there be, like, an actual thing. What happened to his wife? You know, was she killed, or, you know, what happened? That would be cool, you know. Or even just another movie. Fuck it. Do that. Why doesn't anybody listen to me? Good ideas, damn it. Maybe it's the hair. I don't know. But in any case, so... Why did I do that? There's nothing funny there. Wasn't even a funny thought in my head. So in any case, that's how the awesome film Return of the One Armed Swordsman ends. So let's go ahead and do my little overview here. All right, some of the good, some of the bad of the film. All right. Well, the immediate thing that strikes you with this film versus the first one. Whereas the first one was really actually a fairly dramatic film, with really just kind of points of fighting here and there. This one is more or less ass-kicking from beginning to end. And depending on how you look at it, that could be a good or a bad thing. I personally think it's a good thing, because when you take it in position to the first film, The first film is kind of the one that's setting the character up. It's doing, you know, it's almost the first act of a much larger film in that regard. And this one is really the meat of the character. You know, this is them saying, no, you had drama, you had things in the previous one, you're still going to have some in this one, but by God, we're going to have a ton of ass kicking. We're going to have awesome weapons and all kinds of cool stuff, and a guy with a sword that shoots poison and all kinds of stuff, you know, and we're going to go much more balls to the wall with this one. But the cool thing about it is that it wasn't stupid with it. Just the fact that they reserved Fang Gong, for the most part, for a leadership role was cool. And like I said, I've never seen that in another martial arts film where it's done quite like that. And so that really is to the credit of Chang Che and, you know, really the whole staff, but particularly Chang Che in, you know, in having that, you know, maybe not having that idea, but being smart enough to depict it the way it was. And, you know, at the same time, things from the previous film, the choreography has definitely gotten better. One of the great things is Jimmy Wang Yu, really, as time went by, I mean, he really did get pretty damn good with that little half sword of his. You know, he actually came up with some pretty cool tricks that, you know, weren't him just, you know, kind of slashing around and relying more on the stunt actors to kind of lead into it, you know, and you get to see the beginnings of some of that in this film, which was really cool. And some other good things about the film. Great to see familiar faces. One of the things I love about Shaw Brothers films, you know, just great to see the familiar faces there. I mean, and again, it's the great thing about the One Armed Swordsman films is the One Armed Swordsman himself. Like I said in the previous one with the Zatoichi films, he really is a character who sets himself above, you know, the films that he's in. He becomes an iconic character, you know, and that's really cool. And this really helped cement that, I think. Whereas the first film did a great job of really setting that up. If that had been a singular film, it would have been a cool singular film. This one, by having a direct sequel, you know, with the same character, with the same actor, absolutely set it, you know, the character up to be an icon rather than just the movie itself. The action, the characters, I mean, you know. So, I mean, alright, so some of the bad. Let's do some of the bad. Like I said, depending on how you look at it, will depend on so much of, particularly the early Shaw Brothers films, depends on how much you look at it. If you are a fan more of, like, the independent, maybe somewhat lower budget kung fu movies that were made on shoestring budgets, but had acrobatics and, you know, all that stuff. You know, this film's probably not going to be quite to your taste. So, again, I think it's a little bit unfortunate, because I enjoy those films as well, the Chop Saki and, you know, Golden Harvest films and things like that. You know, but I would really implore you to, you know, to take a look at this film and the film before it and enjoy it. But like I said, maybe you're just not so inclined because you're a communist. And if you are a communist, I really do think you should just refer to yourself as comrade, whatever, you know, fill in the blank here for whatever your name is, just so that I can know not to talk to you about these movies. But as far as the bad goes, I mean, like I said, depending on how you look at it, from the first film to this one, the first one did a lot of setting up with the drama, this one really is more action-oriented. Maybe that's not your thing. I mean, it's really hard for me to say. I love both of the films. If I had to choose one, I would choose the first one. But not for any lack of anything on the second one's part, just because the first one did such a great job of setting up the character and everything. In this one, the character's already set up, so he's able to go balls to the wall. And, you know, but, so for me, it wasn't an issue of like, oh, well, there's too much, you know, there's not enough story. It's like, yeah, you know, it's just, it was the way that it was. But, is there anything, God, there's really nothing I would say it's particularly, I mean, in a lot of ways, I mean, Chang Che, his transitions got better between, you know, in the 2 years between the films. so you don't really have some of the clunky transitions that you did in the first one. You know, I mean, there's still things, again, you know, little convenient things, you know, plot things that just help the story move along. But again, none of them were glaring, none of them really made me say, yeah, you know, that would never fucking, you know, it's like, nah, I don't know. It's actually, in my opinion, it's actually a fairly clever film for doing the way things, or doing what it did the way it did things. I don't know, I guess that's the overview. It's a very cool film, and if you have watched the first one, maybe you just own the first one, and you know you've been hesitant, please do not be. Please, if you enjoy the first one, watch the second one, because it really is a great film. Like I said, and particularly if in the first film you're like, man, I just wish there were more, you know, this is great, but I just wish there were more venomous swords and spinning wheel weapons and stuff like that, you know, then this is a great film for you. Someone had to ask that question, by the way, otherwise this film wouldn't have been made. Someone had to have watched the first one, but like, that's not bad, but what if we had guys who came out from under the ground and killed people? Why isn't that in this, you know? Somebody had to have asked that for this film to be made. So that's I guess my overview. Like I said, please, you know, enjoy it. So alright, so what's my good and the bad, because this did run 40 minutes, but I don't care. I really love this film, and I like this review, by the way. I'm liking how this review has gone. My last one, not as much so, even though I was reviewing an awesome film, it was too static, and I don't know, I want to connect, not just with me, not with just the film, but, you know, with you, the audience, if anybody's watching this shit. I want you to feel like you're here, you know, like you were here watching this film with me. So sometimes my films are going to take longer, and you're just going to have to live with it if you want to watch them, because I'm going to tell dumb jokes and stuff like that, and I'm going to ramble on, because that's how I do things, and I'm just going to go like this, and yep, that's what I'm going to do. So, okay, so where is it on the scale, right? Because there's a scale. The eternal scale. With the bottom as, you know, effectively, not even a 1, you know, a negative 849,367,005 being Ninja Revenge. The absolute fucking putz of putzery. And then 10, the top being a 10, with the 10 being, it's a good analogy for a 10 here, folks. Oh, I already did that. Oh, what's a good... A 10 being someone going over there and telling me what happened to Fang Gong's wife, what happened to Lisa Chow Chow's character in these films. Because like I said, there are more of these films that weren't from Shaw Brothers, and she never shows up. I would love to know. That's a 10 for me. So, where does this film fall? The last one, I give a 9.8. And only reluctantly so did I not give it a full-on 10. Where does this film fall? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a 9.6. 9.6. Lots of fun action, lots of cool stuff. Just, again, if I had to choose, I would choose the first one. It does such a great job of just setting up the iconic character and all that stuff. So I have to give it to that one. I do. But a 9.6 is beyond respectable. So that's what I'm going to say. What's a 9.6? What's a 9.6? A 9.6 would have been them going over there and having Tian Fang play, you know, his character of the Stealth King, it turning out that he actually was, in fact, Fang Gong's master from the first one. That would have been a nice little feather in your cap. So that's my my thing for that. And so that's my thing. Let's see here, folks. What did I bring with me? because I do not remember. So, here we go. Oh, I really should have set this up better. So, okay, so that's the end of my review, and, because some people refer to me as the Latin Dragon, who's known for being a warrior assassin, and who was in the film Bloodsport 4, and, who danced the Dance of Death. For all those reasons and more, and because this is a 45-minute video, I'm Brandon Wenzel, and I review Kung Fu films, and martial arts films, and all that good stuff with one arm. Because, why? Because I know Kung Fu, damn it, and I can do it with one arm. Let's see you do better. Roger Ebert and Gene Siskel are both dead. Roper. Let's see you do better, Roper. Ha! See you do it with one arm. So, go ahead, signing off, folks. Quick thing. Traditions.us. I'm gonna keep pimping this shit until you all buy an awesome shirt from Don the Dragon Wilson. And of course, Jay Lee, Kings of Kung Fu on Facebook. Please help with Kickstarter thing. Do it! Do it if you like my videos. Sell your children if you have to. No one needs them. They lied to you when they said that children are our future. So, see you later, folks. Please watch my 46 and 35-minute 5-second video, please. Really hope you enjoy this. I'm gonna stop rambling. Oh my god!